Hey everyone, welcome in. My name is Maggie Umberger. I'm a mindful movement specialist dedicated to helping you feel good, build strength, and unlock your potential. Now, I know in an ideal world, I would love to be able to get in a workout, go to a yoga class, have some time to meditate, go outside, take a walk in nature, and that would be a perfect day. But I can tell you with pretty much total confidence that that has never happened. And there's probably more days than not that none of that happens. I know that life gets in the way and that we can have the best laid plans to go to the gym and they don't work out, or we just look at the week ahead and we just see like, there's no way I'm going to fit in a workout this week. It's too busy. And that's just part of life, the ebbs and the flows. So today I want to share with you some of my movement non-negotiables. And just for me, that means the small things I can do, maybe not even all at one time, but if I can pepper in these things throughout the day or most days a week, it leaves me feeling better. And all I really want for you in watching this is not to say, okay, these are the things I need to do, but to maybe try them out and try some other things on for yourself and ask the question, how do I feel when I'm doing this? Does it actually feel good in the moment that I'm doing it, as well as feeling better after? Because I think a lot of us sometimes think we have to do a workout in order to feel X, Y, and Z way. And sometimes that can be great, but anything that we can do where we're motivated to do it from within, it's going to stick with us longer. And we're going to stick with it longer because we want to do it, not just because we want the outcome from it. So the things that I'm sharing with you today could be a mobility routine, although we're not going to spend a ton of time doing each thing. But if you came up with 10 minutes in your day to sprinkle in these exercises at your own pace and with your breath, and they feel good in your body, then I encourage you to just try it out. Stick with it to make up your own mobility routine, whether that happens in the morning, midday, late at night, or somewhere sprinkled in all throughout the day. Because I am a firm believer that every moment counts. Every choice that we can make to give us a bit of nourishment matters. To just utilize those small moments and make them more impactful. So before I demo everything that I'm going to show you, I just want to demonstrate this idea of the power of a moment just for a second. If you've got a yoga block, grab your block, squeeze it between your thighs. And as you squeeze your thighs here, you'll just kind of see where you feel the weight. Already, when you kind of activate the inner thighs, you connect to the lower abdominals. When you can get your lower abdominals on, it's going to help draw the pelvis up from the front, kind of like you're wearing suspenders. And that's going to help you get a little more space in your low back. Do you feel that? And then let your arms soften down beside you. You could close your eyes, straighten your legs, but then unlock your knees. Feel the soles of your feet, your big toes, and your heels press down. And then from there, just take a very slow shoulder roll up, back, and as you roll the shoulders down, open your mouth and exhale. Keep your jaw relaxed. Seal your lips and inhale through your nose. Breathe out through your nose. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, breath moves in through the nose, down the throat, down your spine, all the way into the base of your spine as you breathe in. Breathe all the way out. Last time, inhale. Exhale. If you closed your eyes, open your eyes. Notice how you feel. The simple shift of a few conscious breaths. So if we can translate those conscious breaths into any amount of a movement practice, whether it's 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and 75 minutes, whatever it might be, you're going to get more bang for your buck. So the things that I like to add, if I have no time at all, these are the things that I will put into my day, and I invite you to play around with them, explore what works, and leave what doesn't. The first exercise I try to incorporate into my day is 90-90 breathing. Hips on the ground, feet on a wall space. Gently drag your heels down the wall isometrically to feel the hamstrings turn on. Ideally, we want to get the hamstrings closer towards the glutes, not so much behind the knees. So if you can sort of play around with that. And then keeping your core, your lower abdominals on, we'll just take an inhale gently. And it's going to be hard to get a good breath in. But as you exhale, try not to let your chest wall drop down. You feel the ribs weave together and the stale air leave the body. Even taking like a shh sound out can be helpful. Connect to your core even more. Inhale again, breathe into the side rib cage. Feel more of the ribs pushing into the ground. Relax your jaw as you exhale. Keep the collarbone smiling wide. So 10 breaths at least with feet on the wall, hips on the ground, no clenching of the glutes, no excess work in the quads, hamstrings just gently pulling down the wall. And if that doesn't work for you, you can ditch that altogether. You can keep your feet propped up on something or even over top of a coffee table so you don't have to work them quite as much. And then just feeling diaphragmatic expansion on the inhale. Side body expands out wide to the left and right. Back body expands further back into the ground underneath you. And ultimately at the top of the inhale, the chest wall does lift up. It just doesn't come at the cost of the rib cage poking up off the ground. The floor is a really great place to give you all of that feedback. Child's pose with a block underneath the forehead is an awesome adjustment to bring the floor up to you. And with your feet together, knees wide, ribs just gently rest down. And I like to not point my knees so wide that my chest is all the way in between the legs, but more or less just on top of the thighs, very gently, then resting your forehead some height of the block that works for you, right on down. From there, I like to flip my palms up if that feels okay. And then you get to really explore back body expansion. The front of your ribs are blocked, head is resting, and then you inhale into your spine. And just relax on the exhale. You can even massage your forehead side to side. Just 10 or so breaths right here. If I can squeeze in a few cat and cows, then I absolutely will. And that doesn't have to look like anything in particular. If you haven't watched my video about how to flip the breath and flip everything about cat and cow, be sure to watch that. It's linked below. But taking a few rounds of cat and cow at your own pace with potentially the block squeezing between your knees to give you more core connection can be a really wonderful way to explore the space in your spine, to inhale into the places that feel more restricted and create more of that space from the inside out. Downward facing dog is my next favorite go-to movement. If I can, I will find a down dog in between a meeting, pedal out the feet, push down and forward into your hands. The main thing I like to think about in a down dog is not dropping my chest all the way back to my thighs. I want to give a little bit of sternum sort of lifting, front ribs gently coming backwards, and I want to be able to keep my ears in line with my biceps more or less. Keeping a little bend of the knees can be kind of nice on the hamstrings, especially if you're not super warm, and even just shortening the stance. But when you get in your inverted V position, you can use your inhales to push the breath more into your back. And I literally try to breathe all the way down into the tailbone, breathing into the sitting bones. Core stays connected, so we're not dropping everything forward. There's still connection of the core. We want that in down dog too, but it can be a really awesome way just to kind of like get some wiggles out. A standing rotation is something that I add in between sets in a workout. I also do it when I stand up from my desk. I'll do it in the morning. It's kind of intuitive, and I encourage you to just kind of make this a little less prescriptive and find what works for you. Feet can be parallel, they can be touching or about sitting bone distance apart. And you're just going to cross one arm over top of the other arm. You'll keep your spine tall, and then imagine just rotating along the axis of your spine. Allow the knees to be soft, so one knee might even like bend a little bit more. And then rotate along the axis of your spine any amount, turning your head any amount. The thing we don't want to do is have an external goal of what we think we want to get to, and then craning the neck or leaning back, excessively arching into the spine. We're kind of getting that lateral flexion just to make that happen. So think tall, and then try inhaling into your twist and exhaling the opposite way. And then after a few breaths, switching it where you inhale to the second side, exhale the opposite way. You can do a couple different variations where you let one knee bend a lot, or letting the knees still micro bend, but only twisting as much as you can kind of lift up and out of that twist so that we're not letting ourselves sit into one hip or the other. And so this is a very small movement, and it's really guided by breath. So use that as the exploration of how tall can you lift, what can you breathe into, and perhaps what cobwebs can you clear out of the way in the process. For my neck and for my shoulders, I like to do a standing shoulder car, controlled articular rotation, and a neck controlled articular rotation. So I have a whole video about these in my library, but this is a short snippet where if I'm really short on time, you're gonna see me standing up from my desk, reaching my left arm forward, reaching it up in the air, turning my palm backwards, swimming my arm as much as I comfortably can back to land my arm all the way beside me, ideally in maximum internal rotation. The thing we want to be focused on here is not letting the whole rest of the body sway and move in order to make this happen. So palm starts in front of you or facing you to reach up in the air. As your palm turns out, relax your jaw. You swim the arm back as far as you can without leaning, twisting, turning. And once your arm lands beside you, you turn your arm all the way in so the back of your hand lands beside you. And then you can reverse the direction, going thumb first, shoulder hugs onto the back. Once you can't go any further, arm swims out and around, keeping a little micro bend of your knees. But again, we're not swaying, core stays on. Once you reach up in the air, arm goes across your nose. You kind of slice it across to land beside you. And so that again is maximum internal rotation. Thumb goes back. Hug the shoulder onto the back. Swim your arm out and around once you can't go any further. Exploring the space within the shoulder joint. Arm reaches up and across your body. Land it all the way beside you. So what we're looking for there is not pushing through pain, exploring the available range that your shoulder has to work with, and of course, breathing into it. So I'm thinking like effort 3 or 4 out of 10. It's really light. We're not forcing anything. I don't want you to break a sweat, but taking like 3 or so reps going each direction on each arm if you've got the time. And then finally, a little bit of love for the neck and shoulders together. So I will play around with turning my gaze from the left to the right a few times. And if that feels okay, again, we're going really slow. You'll just nod your chin down towards your collarbone, scrape your chin across your collarbone, look the opposite way, and then like a little pendulum swing back to your first side. That might be plenty. Or if you want to add the full controlled articular rotation for your neck, your mouth will stay closed. Once you're looking to the side, mouth will stay closed and your nose will start to scrape an imaginary line on the ceiling, a big rainbow up and over. I'm talking, but your lips are closed, all the way over to the opposite side. Then scrape chin to chest, and then you repeat that circle. So just remember, we're not dropping the head back. There's a lift, like nose is painting the ceiling, and breath is still infused in the shape. You take about 2 each direction, and then you just notice, how does your upper body feel? How is your spine feeling? How's the breath feeling? And ultimately, if we can get breath to move lower down into the belly, get more expansion, and sort of get out of our rounded forward position, which we are in all the time, I find it to be an awesome remedy and sort of a way to get back to homeostasis. So try some of these out. Add in some pieces of your own. I have tons more, and specifically tons more videos, and specifically a ton more full-length classes that incorporate more hip mobility, foot and ankle mobility, where you can pull out nuggets of things that you like that you'd want to incorporate into your movement practice. And they all live at maggieumberger.com. So I invite you to explore my membership filled with those classes, as well as mini workshops and live class experiences and so much more. I look forward to seeing you on the mat soon. Happy moving!